This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Monday, March the 20th, 2023. So glad you come along with us here again today. Later on in today's show, I'll be talking with the folks at Nutrien Premium Fertilizer Technologies. We'll also have a look at a pretty nice forecast. But first, let's run down those markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and we're turning to Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. And Robin, what did we see out there in those grain markets today?
Well, we saw more of a divergence kind of between the soybeans again, at least nearby soybeans relative to deferred, but wheat took a beating. Corn was kind of went on a negative all day, not real bad, but just seeing some pressure. Export inspections were actually good comparative to the week before. Corn was at 46.8 million bushels. That was up 6.8 million from the previous week. Soybeans at 26.3 million bushels, up 3.1 million bushels, and wheat at 13.8 million bushels. That was up 4.3 million bushels. So in comparison to the previous week, they were good. Now, corn really did see some nice inspections, but it also, we're probably going to be looking at some decent sales this week because China bought quite a bit of corn last week that we noticed on the daily export reports. And that was what drove the market higher last week overall. Now, we didn't see any export sales taking place on the daily wires today. So maybe that's kind of going to hold back a little bit. Now, we're looking at soybeans. We have the Argentina situation, which is still there, but that's old news. But China's U.S. soybean imports increased in the period of January through February, increased 15.4% over the previous year. And that's because of some delays of harvesting in Brazil. And I know that doesn't really sound like a much because the delaying of harvesting, they'll catch up. They'll get it harvested. When we're looking at their harvesting overall at 53.4% done, it's behind last year. Mato Grosso area is 94.7% done. The delays really not going to impact the overall harvesting of the crop, but China needs to buy. And they came in and were buying more from the U.S., increasing that amount that they were buying. And the corn imports as well, they were up 22% in January and February, as China was looking more to the U.S. to buy than they did last year at this time. And that's tied to some delays in getting it out of Brazil. Probably going to be somewhat temporary, but it did put some support in that market. It did result in bull spreading today, buying the closer months, selling the back months. And so that was more of what drove the bean market by itself. Now, soybean oil was higher. Soybean meal was down. Wheat was down because they renewed the Black Sea shipping agreement for at least 60 days. There's been some discussion on whether it's 60, whether it's longer than that, but at least 60 days. Russia says for them to increase it further. After 60 days, there's got to be some changes made. They want to see some restrictions lifted. So we'll see how that all pans out over the next 60 days, having their discussions. So the grain markets were mostly lower except for soybean oil and front month soybeans.
Now, switching over to livestock then, Robin, how did things go there? I know the cattle market was waiting for the cattle on feed report last Friday. Hogs took it on the chin again right before the end of the week. What do we look at today?
Well, as expected, the cattle on feed report was neutral. If you look at it compared to last year, it was bullish. If you look at comparison to the trade expectations, it was slightly negative, mostly neutral, but slightly negative. When we saw cattle on feed in March 1st at 96%, placed in February at 93%, and marketed in February at 95%. I mean, those are bullish numbers compared to last year. But when we look in comparison to the estimates, the on-feed numbers were a little higher than anticipated. Placements were just a little bit lower. And the marketings were a little bit lower than what they anticipated. So a lot of times the market will trade according to the estimates, not according to the big picture. That'll trade in the long term, but true to form, they did put some pressure on the cattle market into the close. Now, cash last week was $1 lower. Unclear, and it's hard to estimate what it could be this week. Now, 29% of the cattle that were purchased last week were purchased for deferred delivery. So that puts packers sometimes in a little bit better position than they had been before. So they have 20. So even though we traded $1 lower, we're looking at 29% of the cattle carried over for deferred delivery. Box beef today at midday choice was up 19 cents, select up $1.17. But we did see just some continued minor pressure, I would say, on the cattle market. Looking at hogs, they took a beating last week and kind of bounced back at the end of the day on Friday, but just did not hold coming in through trading today. They continue to struggle. Futures are down at the level they were back at late 2021. That hurts as far as producers are concerned. Now, cash was weaker on Friday, down $1.22. Cutouts took a beating on Friday, down $3.59. That carried over into today and put some pressure on that market. So continued pressure, seeing contracts about $1 lower, except for front month April. That's over $2 lower as it tries to correct and get somewhat in line with the cash. Now, noon cutouts were up $1.30. We hope that they can hold there and provide a little bit of support. But cash at noon was down to $1.37. We were hoping to see a little bit stronger cash because of lower price, but that did not materialize.
All right, Robin. Well, a lot for our producers to be thinking about. And if they want to talk about what some of the options they have with agmarket.net, how do they get in touch?
Okay, they can call me directly at 877-256-3253 or go to agmarket.net, our website. The main phone number's on there. Anybody will be happy to answer your questions and be able to work with you.
All right, Robin. Well, we appreciate the insight as always, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thank you. It's always a pleasure being on with you.
That again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's take a look at the closing numbers. That comes to us courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. May corn was down 1 1/4 at 6.33 even. December new crop down 1 1/4 at 5.60 even. May soybeans up 9 1/2 at 14.86 even. November new crop down 4 1/2. They're at 13.09 even. Soy meal down $3.30 at 4.6270. Soy oil up 53 cents at 57.99. Chicago wheat down 11 at 7.08 1/2. Minneapolis wheat down 10 3/4 at 8.48 1/2. Kansas wheat down 7 1/2 at 8.15 1/4. July oats 6 cents higher at 3.53 1/4. April live cattle 30 cents lower at 162.02. April feeders 2 cents lower at 194.62. April lean hogs down $2.10 at 77.77. Pork cutouts down $1.87 at $85. Class 3 milk 3 cents lower at 18.04. And that's been a check of our market recap. We're going to take a short break here from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we're going to talk with Dustin Demoss of Nutrien Premium Fertilizer Technologies. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, nitrogen and fertilizer is definitely a top of mind product for farmers this time of year. Of course, some of us have already fall applied our fertilizers, but of course, the cost and the longevity and the lasting power of the product is really top of mind. Well, that's why the folks at Nutrien Premium Fertilizer Technologies have come up with some solutions to help you get the most out of that fertilizer dollar. We talked with Dustin Demoss at the Commodity Classic Show in Orlando. We're talking right now with Dustin Demoss here at the Nutrien Premium Fertilizer Technologies booth at Commodity Classic 2023. And Dustin, thanks so much for taking the time to visit with us today.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for stopping by.
So we're talking today about enhanced efficiency fertilizer and ESN technology. Tell us about what that is, first of all.
Yeah, so ESN stands for environmentally smart nitrogen. So what ESN is it's a polymer-coated urea, which is protecting the urea once it's applied from all of the nitrogen loss mechanisms.
So tell us a little bit about then what it does, how it fits into how we're farming in 2023.
Yeah, so being a polymer-coated urea, it's fully encapsulated, protecting that nitrogen from the loss mechanisms, as well as a controlled release nitrogen product. So the way that it works is water's got to pass through the polymer coating to turn the urea granule into a nitrogen solution, and then that nitrogen solution slowly exits the polymer coating over a time period of 50 to 80 days, depending on soil temperature.
So then when do you apply the product? When's the best time?
Yeah, so ESN is very versatile on when it can be applied. Depending on what your geography, it can be applied different times a year of any time that you would normally apply any other nitrogen sources as well.
So when you're talking like, for us up north, in fall, we think about fall up, but with it being cold, is it going to stay dormant until it warms back up and is able to be used, kind of like what we're used to having?
Yes, absolutely. So you can apply ESN in the fall as long as you're in a geography where the soil temperature is going to remain below 50 degrees until springtime and until crop is going to begin demanding it. So
compare that to what we're used to with standard nitrogen that we put on, and how it differs and how it's better.
Yeah, so ESN is the best protected nitrogen in the ag market. Being fully encapsulated in the polymer coating, it's physically holding that nitrogen granule in until it releases that nitrogen to the environment, at which time the crop will be demanding it to uptake that nitrogen.
And so it also helps with the fact that it probably cuts back on some of our nitrogen loss then too?
Absolutely. It protects against nitrogen loss in all the different nitrogen loss ways. So leaching, volatilization, and denitrification, it protects against all of that.
So is it the polymer that protects the nitrogen, say, from leaching and all that? Or how is it staying? Because obviously you're going to be getting nitrogen 50 to 80 days later. What's protecting it from running off while it's just kind of sitting there waiting?
Yeah, so what's protecting it from getting away is it's actually being held physically inside that polymer capsule that you've applied.
Okay. So what kind of results are you seeing with trials and stuff that you saw?
Yeah, so the trials that we've done, we have lots of years of data. ESN is showing very positive yield results and greater in-use efficiency.
And I suppose by having it there ahead of time for extended use, that way you're not looking at late season fertilizer application if you're running out of nitrogen for that plant right when it's at its critical time.
Absolutely. With ESN controlling the release of the nitrogen out of the polymer coating, you're getting that time frame of spoon feeding the crop along the way, minimizing the need for any other late season additions of nitrogen.
So if folks want to learn more about the product, the ESN product, where do they need to go?
You can visit our website at smartnitrogen.com.
All right, well, thank you so much, Dustin. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for stopping by.
That again was Dustin Demoss of Nutrien Premium Fertilizer Technologies. Now, let's take a look at that ag weather outlook. Boy, it was a beautiful day here across most of the state of Iowa, to be sure. Talking a little bit of rain moving in tonight. We'll get to that in just a moment. Boy, it was almost felt like spring out there, which, as we're getting close to that first day of spring this week, hopefully we're going to start to see that page turn and winter finally loosen its grip so we can start getting those fields ready to go. But also reminds me I've got to get into the garage and get my Harley fixed, since it's been down for quite a while and it probably just needs a quick tune-up. But other than that, let's go ahead and take a look at what the next 24 hours is going to hold for the National Weather Service and whether or not I'm going to be able to get that Harley out and fix it. Well, as we said, it was a beautiful day here across most of the state. Definitely some spring-like feelings out there, and it makes it easier to get that tractor ready and get ready to go out into the fields. We saw partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies statewide, and we saw highs in the upper 40s to the low 60s. Now, tonight it's going to start to cool down, and those clouds are going to move in. We'll see a chance of rain often in the southwest part of the state, and lows will be anywhere from the upper 20s to around 40. And then tomorrow, it's going to be cooler. We're going to see more rain in the forecast. And of course, most of the state going to see mostly rain. And we're going to see highs in the upper 40s to about the low 50s. Looking at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will be mostly cloudy, the chance of rain in 47, Shenandoah rain in 49, Des Moines rain and 48, Waterloo increasing clouds and a chance of rain in 47, Albia rain 47, Clinton will start off partly sunny, but rain will move in and it'll see a high of 52 degrees. And that's been your Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Don't forget, you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that way you're notified every time we put out a new video product, or you can catch up on those past episodes of AMPM. Don't forget about our free Twice Daily Market podcast through Google, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean. Those are free of charge. You come right to your mobile device. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman for Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson. We thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.